Hello, and welcome to Bible Body Doubling. This is where we read the stories together and we wonder out loud. I'm your host, Giovanna J, here with my hosts, KJ5 and CSB. So, about last season, should we call it season? What should we call the books of the Bible? We finished. I finished, you finished. We finished one book together, First Samuel. So if you've never read a book all the way through, if you've never got a chance to be consistent in the Bible or learn something, know something, you did it. You did it. Hooray. So now, that's my little shoulder dance. We are on Second Samuel. So I gave a little bit of gossip with the gospel. Last Samuel, last episode with First Samuel, we closed out. Now we are on Second Samuel, and so I'm trying to figure out how do I want to fuse the two together, but I don't want to waste anybody's time. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to tune in to listen to this good book. So I just want to get straight into it. If you missed out on the last episodes, they are pre-recorded, live recorded, and then saved. I guess that's the best way to say it. They're saved under the House of David playlist on YouTube. I have a playlist, and so you can go back and look at that and to try to catch up if you want to, or you can just start with us, listen today, and just keep coming with us because we're gonna read the Bible all over again, starting from Genesis in the summer. And I'm excited. All right. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get into this good book. All right. I just feel like I need to still give y'all a little something. Let's start from First Samuel chapter 31. Let's see. I think I should read chapter 31, but give me a second. Yeah, so you all could kind of like know where we left off at so we can be in the mood. We got to be in the mood. You know what I'm saying? Know what I mean, Vern? You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Let's see. All right. Chapter 31 of First Samuel. The Philistines fought against Israel. Sorry, I'm doing it a different way, and I'm trying to make sure I can see clearly. I don't know if that's going to work. It's a little blurry. It's blurry on you all's end. I got the chat open this time, y'all. Look at me coming up on. I told y'all, episode 110. 110, your girl gonna be in. Hey, y'all. Look at y'all on the chat. Don't, ooh. Y'all made me feel real good right now. It's not about me, it's about the stories. Let's get back to it. The Philistines fought against Israel, and Israel's men fled from them and were killed on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines pursued Saul and his sons and killed his sons, Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchishua. When the battle intensified against Saul, the archers found him and severely wounded him. Then Saul said to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through with it, or these uncircumcised men will come and run me through and torture me." But his armor bearer would not do it because he was terrified. Then Saul took his sword and fell on it. When his armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he also fell on his own sword and died with him. That day. Saul died together with his 3 sons, his armor bearer, and all his men. I'm sorry, you guys. It is so fuzzy on my screen. Let me change my setup really quickly. Gotta use my trusty now. The nails are back, okay? Saul died together with his 3 sons, his armor bearer, and his men. When the men of Israel on the other side of the valley and on the other side of the Jordan saw that Israel's men had fled and that Saul and his sons were dead, they abandoned the cities and fled. So the Philistines came and settled in them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the slain, they found Saul and his 3 sons dead on Mount Gilboa. They cut off Saul's head, stripped off his armor, and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to spread the good news in the temples of their idols and among the people. Then they put his armor in the temple of the Ashtoreths and hung his body on the wall of Bethshan. When the residents of Jabesh Gilead heard what the Philistines had done to Saul, all their brave men set out, journeyed all night, and retrieved the body of Saul and the bodies of his sons from the wall of Bethshan. When they arrived at Jabesh, they burned the bodies there. Afterward, they took their bones and buried them under the tamarisk tree in Jabesh and fasted 7 days. Second Samuel. After the death of Saul, David returned from defeating the Amalekites and stayed at Ziklag 2 days. On the 3rd day, a man with torn clothes and dust on his head came from Saul's camp. When he came to David, he fell to the ground and paid homage. David asked, "Where have you come from?" He replied, I have escaped from the Israelite camp." "What was the outcome? Tell me," David asked. "The troops fled from the battle," he answered. "Many of the troops have fallen and are dead. Also, Saul and his son Jonathan are dead." David asked the young men who had brought him the report, How do you know Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" "I happened to be on Mount Gilboa," he replied, "and there was Saul leaning on his spear. At that very moment, the chariots and the cavalry were closing in on him. When he turned around and saw me, he called out to me. So I answered, 'I'm at your service.' He asked me, 'Who are you?' I told him, I'm an Amalekite. Then he begged me, 'Stand over me and kill me, for I am mortally wounded, but my life still lingers.' So I stood over him and killed him because I knew that after he had fallen, he couldn't survive. I took the crown that was on his head and the armband that was on his arm, and I brought them here to my Lord." Then David took off his clothes and tore them, and all the men with him did the same. They mourned, wept, and fasted until the evening for those who died by the sword, for Saul, his son Jonathan, the Lord's people, and the house of Israel. David inquired of the young man who had brought him the report, "Where are you from?" I wouldn't have answered, baby, because David don't play, honey. I wouldn't have answered. "I'm the son of a resident alien," he said. "I'm an Amalekite." David questioned him. "How is it that you are not afraid to lift your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed. Then David summoned one of his servants and said, "Come here and kill him." The servant struck him, and he died. For David had said to the Amalekite, "Your blood is on your own head, because your own mouth testified against you by saying, 'I killed the Lord's anointed.'" Oh, this is so sweet. Look, David sang the following lament for Saul and his son Jonathan. Oh, so sweet. And he ordered that the Judahites be taught the song of the bow. Oh, what's that? It is written in the book of Jashar. The splendor of Israel lies slain on your heights. How the mighty have fallen. Do not tell it in Gath. Don't announce it in the marketplaces of Ashkelon. Or the daughters of the Philistines will rejoice, and the daughters of the uncircumcised will celebrate. Mountains of Gilboa, let no dew or rain be on you, or fields of offerings, for there the shield of the mighty was defiled. The shield of Saul no longer anointed with oil. Jonathan's bow never retreated. Saul's sword never returned unstained. From the blood of the slain, from the flesh of the mighty, Saul and Jonathan, loved and delightful. They were not parted in life or in death. They were swifter than eagles, stronger than lions. Daughters of Israel, weep for Saul, who clothed you in scarlet with luxurious things, who decked your garments with gold ornaments. How the mighty have fallen in the thick of battle. Jonathan lies slain on your heights. I grieve for you, Jonathan, my brother. You were such a friend to me. Your love for me was more wondrous than the love of a woman. How the mighty have fallen, and the weapons of war have perished. Sometime later, David inquired of the Lord, "Should I go to one of the towns of Judah?" The Lord answered him, "Go." Then David asked, "Where should I go?" "To Hebron," the Lord replied. So David went there with his two wives, Ahinoam and the Jezreelite, and Abigail, the widow of Nabal, the Carmelite. In addition, David brought the men who were with him, each one with his family, and they settled in the towns near Hebron. Then the men of Judah came, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. They told David, it was the men of Jabesh Gilead who buried Saul. David sent messengers to the men of Jabesh Gilead and said to them, "The Lord bless you, because you have shown this kindness to Saul, your Lord, when you buried him. Now, may the Lord show kindness and faithfulness to you, and I will also show the same goodness to you because you have done this deed. Therefore, be strong and valiant, for though Saul your Lord is dead, the house of Judah has anointed me king over them." Abner, the son of Ner, commander of Saul's army, took Saul's son Ishbosheth and moved him to Mahanaim. He made him king over Gilead, Asher, Jezreel, Ephraim, Benjamin, over all Israel. Saul's son Ishbosheth was 40 years old when he became king over Israel. He reigned for 2 years. The house of Judah, however, followed David. The length of time that David was king in Hebron over the house of Judah was 7 years and 6 months. My God. My goodness, this is a long journey to become king. Abner, son of Ner, and soldiers of Ishbosheth, son of Saul, marched out from Mahanaim to Gibeon. So Joab, son of Zeruiah, remember Joab is David's cousin, okay? Abner is kin to King Saul, okay? Keep that in mind. This is family business, okay? See that hand? Family business, okay? We got family dynamics now. Imagine how you are with your family. I need y'all to use your imagination now. Got to connect to the characters. This family business. Abner lost a piece of his family. And then you have David and his cousin. Joab is his cousin. So Joab, son of Zeruiah, give me a pass. And David's soldiers marched out and met them by the pool of Gibeon. The two groups took up positions on opposite sides of the pool. Then Abner said to Joab, "Let's have the young men get up and compete in front of us." Let them get up, Joab replied. So they got up and were counted off. Now remember, the tribes are not together. They don't want David. Their king is King Ishbosheth. Did I say that right? That was his name? Yeah, Ishbosheth. And the only people that took David as king was Judah. So, okay? So they're still at all. David is still not king over the whole kingdom. He's only king over Judah. And the rest of the kingdom, King Ishbosheth. So these two people, these two parties are on opposite side. We got Joab on one side of the pool, who's a commander in David's army. Then we have Abner on the other side of the pool, who's basically King Saul's son, is king, and he's on that side, okay? Where are we? Okay, use your imagination. You got to put your feelings in. So they got up and were counted off. 12 for Benjamin and Ishbosheth, son of Saul, and 12 from David's soldiers. Then each man grabbed his opponent by the head and thrust his sword into his opponent's side, so that they all died together. Okay, pause for the cause. Mind you, David used to fight with these people. Okay? Since he was a lad. Since he killed that giant we read about in 1 Samuel. Since he was a boy. He was a commander of armies. And these are some of the dudes that he fought with. Okay? So this place, which is in Gibeon, is named Field of Blades. The battle that day was extremely fierce, and Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by David's soldiers. The 3 sons of Zeruiah were there: Joab, Abishai, and Asahel. Asahel was a fast runner, like one of the wild gazelles. He chased Abner and did not turn to the right or the left in his pursuit of him. Abner glanced back and said, "Is that you, Asahel?" "Yeah, it is," Asahel replied. Abner said to him, "Turn to your right or left, seize one of the young soldiers, and take whatever you can get from him." But Asahel said, see, I'm getting too excited. I'm over here trying to pretend like I'm running. And Asahel would not stop chasing him. Once again, Abner warned Asahel, "Stop chasing me. Why should I strike you to the ground? How could I ever look your brother Joab in the face?" But Asahel refused to turn away. So another hit him in the stomach. So Abner hit him in the stomach with the butt of his spear. The spear went through his body and he fell and died right there. As they all came to the place where Asahel had fallen and died, they stopped. Both Joab and Abishai pursued Abner. Rightfully so, that's their brother. By sunset, they had gone as far as the hill of Ammah, which is opposite of Giah, on the way to the wilderness of Gibeon. The Benjaminites rallied to Abner. They formed a unit and took their stand on top of a hill. Then Abner called out to Joab, "Must the sword devour forever? Don't you realize this will only end in bitterness? How long before you tell the troops to stop pursuing their brothers?" "As God lives," Joab replied, "if you have not spoken up, the troops wouldn't have stopped pursuing their brothers until morning." Then Joab blew the ram's horn, and all the troops stopped. They no longer pursued Israel or continued to fight. So Abner and his men marched through the Arabah all that night. They crossed the Jordan, marched all morning, and arrived at Mahanaim. When Joab had turned back from pursuing Abner, he gathered all the troops. In addition to Asahel, 19 of David's soldiers were missing. But they had killed 360 of the Benjaminites and Abner's men. Afterward, they carried Asahel to his father's tomb in Bethlehem and buried him. Then Joab and his men marched all night and reached Hebron at dawn. During the long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, David was growing stronger, and the house of Saul was becoming weaker. Sons were born to David in Hebron. All right, David's a daddy. His firstborn was Ammon by Ahinoam, the Jezreelite. His second was Chileab by Abigail, the widow of Nabal, the Carmelite. The third was Absalom, son of Maacah, the daughter of King Tamar of Jeshurun. The fourth was Adonijah, son of Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, son of Abital. The sixth was Ephraim by David's wife Eglah. How many girls that is? Hold on one second. Hold on. So he already got, he got Abigail, he got Ahinoam, and he picked up a couple of more. He got Maacah, he got Haggith, he got Abital, and he got Eglah. That's what, six wives. And the plot thickens. These were born to David in Hebron. During the war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner kept acquiring more power in the house of Saul. Now Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth questioned Abner, "Why did you sleep with my father's concubine?" Abner was very angry about Ishbosheth's accusation. "Am I a dog's head who belongs to Judah?" he asked. "All this time, I've been loyal to the family of your father Saul, to his brothers and to his friends, and haven't betrayed you to David. But now you accuse me of wrongdoing with this woman? May God punish Abner and do so severely if I don't do for David what the Lord swore to him, to transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul and establish the throne of David over Israel and Judah, from Dan to Beersheba." Ishbosheth did not dare respond to Abner because he was afraid of him. Abner sent messengers as he represented, no, I'm sorry, Abner sent messengers as his representatives to say to David, whose land is it? Make your covenant with me, and you can be certain I am on your side to turn all Israel over to you. David replied, good, I will make a covenant with you. However, there's one thing I require of you. You will not see my face unless you first bring Saul's daughter, Michal, when you come to see me. You know I had to pause for the calls real quick, right? Okay, David's been going. Let's put ourselves in Michael's spot right now. Okay? Okay, just for a moment. Okay, it's about to be a scene. You got to be imagining. You got to be imagining. You got to be imagining. Okay, it is not 2026. We're going all the way back. Think of some pictures in Google's. Okay, in Google's. Go all the way back. Now you got to put yourself in there. Michael have just lost. Not just lost. It's been 7 years. What they say, 7 years and some change. The girl is going through a lot. Okay, as Miss Prince says, she lost her brothers, except Ishbosheth. Her brothers. She lost her dad at war. All this is at the same time. Not one person died in the family. Who can bear? You know, like if a parent dies, you at least have your brothers and sisters to like be with you during that time and offer some form of relief. But it was like 3 brothers, I think it was, that died, and her dad. And these are people she loved. This is her family. Okay? And then before that happened, before her dad even died, her dad tried to get back at David, and he gave Michal to another man. So all this time, she's living with this other man, right? And what is the dynamics of that? Like it says in the Bible when we read in 1 Samuel that she loved David. So your husband has to leave. You had to lie for him a little bit. Just all the emotions. You had to put a little false idol in the bed so they would kill your husband. And all the different things. And you haven't seen David in all this time. I'm pretty sure she probably heard stories about him and his excursions and all these different things. Somebody had to bring her word back. Or, you know, she's a princess. She can get, she got some, you know, she got a little weight. She got little strings. And so I'm just like, you have for a woman, but anybody who's loved somebody, you don't know sometimes if they're dead or alive. And then it's all between your daddy and your man. Anybody who has family drama or mother-in-law, father-in-law drama, like your dad is trying to kill the man you love and you love both of them. And so you lost everyone you love. Like the men in your life, you lost your man, your husband, you lost your dad, like all these men you love, and now you're with this man. It never said that she loved him, and it never said that she didn't love him. But I think one can imagine that once you are with somebody, you kind of like make amends with yourself. Like, this is my life, so I might as well love the one I'm with. I wonder, you know, just like, and then David's coming back to be king. Your dad was king, like mixed emotion. Like, am I supposed to be happy that you coming and taking my daddy's spot? My daddy died. So like just all the things. And then her own relationship with the Lord, wanting to make sense of all of this. And Jonathan was noble. Jonathan was a nobleman. It's different if Jonathan was mean. You know, we can kind of like be a little bit mad at Jonathan, be like, goody, yeah, got what's coming to him. But I was just like, Jonathan was noble. Jonathan was kind. Jonathan said, okay, I'll be second in command. You be king. I don't mind serving you, is what he said in 1 Samuel, basically. And he dies. And I wonder what Michal is feeling with God. Like, what, like, did she feel just like a pawn? Like, what is she feeling? So then now, she don't know David got these 6 women, okay? And children. She doesn't know this. Or maybe she does, right? And now Abner is coming to get you from a life that you may have accepted. You may have like been married and just was disengaged. You know how like you can be with somebody and not be with them in your heart. Whatever she probably had to do to either survive or not. Maybe she was in love. I don't know, but I'm just like, dang, Mikael. I feel so much compassion for her. Let's keep going. All right, where were we? Are we on this side? Okay, verse 13. David replied, "Good, I will make a covenant with you. However, there is one thing I require of you. You will not see my face unless you first bring Saul's daughter, Michal, when you come to see me." Then David sent messengers to say, to Ishbosheth, son of Saul, "Give me back my wife, Michal. I was engaged to her for the price of 100 Philistine foreskins." So Ishbosheth sent someone to take her away from her husband, Paltiel, son of Laish. Her husband followed, weeping all the way to Baharum. Oh, this is so sad. Abner said to him, "Go back." So he went back. Do you think he loved her? This man weeping. So he followed her. He followed them, crying, mourning for his wife. Ugh, drama. Abner conferred with the elders of Israel. "In the past, you wanted David to be king over you. Now take action, because the Lord has spoken concerning David. Through my servant David, I will save my people Israel from the power of the Philistines and the power of all Israel's enemies." Abner also informed the Benjaminites and went to Hebron to inform David about all that was agreed on by Israel and the whole house of Benjamin. When Abner and 20 men came to David at Hebron, David held a banquet for him and his men. Abner said to David, "Let me now go, and I will gather all Israel to my lord the king. They will make a covenant with you, and you will reign over all you desire." So David dismissed Abner, and he went in peace. Just then, David's soldiers and Joab returned from a raid and brought a large amount of plundered goods with them. Abner was not with David in Hebron because David had dismissed him, and he had gone in peace. When Abner and his whole army arrived, Joab was informed. Abner, son of Ner, came to see the king. The king dismissed him, and he went in peace. Joab went to the king and said, "What have you done? Look here. Abner came to you. Why did you dismiss him? Now he's getting away. You know that Abner, son of Ner, came to deceive you and to find out about your military activities and everything you're doing." Then Joab left David and sent messengers after Abner. They brought him back from the well of Sirah, but David was unaware of it. When Abner returned to Hebron, Joab pulled him aside to the middle of the city gate, as if to speak to him privately. And there, Joab stabbed him in the stomach. So Abner died in revenge for the death of Asahel, Joab's brother. David heard about it later and said, I and my king are forever innocent before the Lord concerning the blood of Abner, son of Ner. May it hang over Joab's head and his father's whole family. And may the house of Joab never be without someone who has a discharge or a skin disease, or a man can only work a spindle, or someone who falls by the swords or starves. Joab and his brother Abishai killed Abner because he had put their brother Asahel to death in the battle at Gibeon. David then ordered Joab and all the people who were with him, tear your clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourn over Abner. And King David walked behind the coffin. When they buried Abner in Hebron, the king wept out loud at Abner's tomb. All the people wept. And the king sang, I love me some David. You hear what I say? That man is so vulnerable. Sorry, I was reading in my head. I'm back. And the king sang a lament for Abner. Should Abner die as a fool dies? Your hands were not bound, your feet not placed in bronze shackles. You fell like one who falls victim to criminals. And all the people wept over him even more. Then they came to urge David to eat food while it was still day, but David took an oath. May God punish me and do so severely if I taste bread or anything else before sunset. All the people took note of this, and it pleased them. In fact, everything the king did pleased them. On that day, all the troops and all Israel were convinced that the king had no part in the killing of Abner, son of Ner. Then the king said to his soldiers, you must know that a great leader has fallen in Israel today. As for me, even though I am the anointed king, I have little power today. These men, the sons of Zeruiah, are too fierce for me. May the Lord repay the evildoer according to his evil. So we know them two ain't on good terms. When Saul's son Ishbosheth heard that Abner had died in Hebron, he gave up, and all Israel was dismayed. Saul's son had two men who were leaders of raiding parties, one named Baanah and the other Rechab, sons of Rimmon, the Beerothite of the Benjaminites. Beeroth is also considered part of Benjamin, and the Beerothites fled to Gittim and still reside there as aliens today. Saul's son Jonathan had a son whose feet were crippled. He was 5 years old when the report about Saul and Jonathan came from Jezreel. His nanny picked him up and fled, but as she was hurrying to flee, he fell and became lame. His name was Mephibosheth. Rechab and Baanah, the sons of Rimmon the Beerothite, set out and arrived at Ishbosheth's house during the heat of the day while the king was taking his midday nap. They entered the interior of the house as if to get wheat and stabbed him in the stomach. Then Rechab and his brother Baanah escaped. They had entered the house while Ishbosheth was lying on his bed in his bedroom and stabbed and killed him. They removed his head, took it, and traveled by the way of the Arabah all night. They brought Ishbosheth's head to David at Hebron and said to the king, "Here's the head of Ishbosheth, son of Saul, your enemy who intended to take your life. Today, the Lord has granted vengeance to my lord, the king, against Saul and his offspring." But David answered Rechab and his brother Baanah, son of Ramon the Beerothite, "As the Lord lives, the one who has redeemed my life from every distress, when the person told me, 'Look, Saul is dead,' he thought he was a bearer of good news. But I seized him and put him to death at Ziklag. That was my reward to him for his news. How much more when wicked men kill a righteous man in his own house on his bed?" Say that again. On his own bed. "So now, should I not require his blood from you and purge you from the earth?" So David gave orders to the young men, and they killed Rechab and Baanah. They cut off their hands and feet and hung their bodies by the pool in Hebron. But they took Ishbosheth's head and buried it in Abner's tomb in Hebron. Close scene. I'm shaking. It was so deep. Okay. All right. That concludes our reading for today. Thank you so much for allowing me to read to you. This is the Bible Body Dublin podcast, and it is sponsored by the Gardener's House. Till I read to you next time, ta-ta for now.